Throughout Rebbe Nachman's teachings, he speaks about the greatness of the Holy Land, the greatness of Eretz Yisrael, of coming here, of breaking the obstacles, of having the merit to be in the Holy Land. And this being of utmost importance. For example, when Rebbe Nachman gave over lesson 20, and in that lesson he said, whoever wants to be a Jew, which means going from level to level, can only do so through the Holy Land. When Rav Nosson heard this, he asked Rebbe Nachman, what aspect of the Holy Land, what concept of the Holy Land did you have in mind when you said that statement? So Rebbe Nachman said, as if he was impatient, I mean this Holy Land with these streets, these houses, these apartments, these buildings, this Holy Land. And Rav Nosson explains that yes, Rebbe Nachman meant that really to be a Jew, to advance, will be through Eretz Yisrael. So you have beautiful prayers composed by Rav Nosson on these lessons where Rebbe Nachman talks about the Holy Land, and the prayers mention about having the merit to break the obstacles and coming to the Holy Land. So once Rav Shmuel Shapira, he was a Breslov elder of the previous generation, he was asked by somebody, how about Jews already residing, living in Eretz Yisrael? Should they skip these prayers? Because they're here already, they're living in Eretz Yisrael. What should they have in mind when saying should they even say these prayers? Should they skip them? What should they have in mind? So Rav Shmuel Shapira said something very amazing. He said those living in Eretz Yisrael, you should have in mind that you should merit to what's called Kedushat Eretz Yisrael, to merit the holiness of the Holy Land. Just because you're living in the Holy Land doesn't mean you have the merit already to jump to all the through all the 10 levels of holiness which are found in the Holy Land. Maybe you tap into 1, 2, or part of one, but who says you managed to get into all 10 levels? Like the Gemara says, there's Asara Kedushot, there's 10 levels of holiness found in the Holy Land. You did the first step, coming here physically, bravo, an amazing accomplishment. But there's work here to do also now, next level, next level, next level. So with this idea, we can understand the story with Rav Avraham Dov of Chemelnik, who's buried in Tzfat. It's called the Bat Ayin. I think that was his name, Avraham Dov of Chemelnik or Orbach. He's a author of a book called Bat Ayin. He's buried in a cave right below the grave of the Arizal in Tzfat. So how did he end up in Eretz Yisrael? Because when he was living in the Ukraine, in White Russia, wherever he was living, once a visitor from the Holy Land was staying by him for Shabbat, and the visitor was telling Rav Avram Dov that the Eretz Yisrael is so great, is so precious, is so holy, so spiritual, that even the earth on the floor is all jewels. And he said it to Rav Avram Dov Orbach, or of Chemelnik, with such a sincerity that Rav Avram Dov believed him. He believed him to the extent that he decided to move with his family to the Holy Land. He arrived to Tzfat, and he saw that it was a physical place of trees and earth and streets and everything, and it was not like the Jew who was visiting depicted to him. A year passed, or a few years passed, and Rav Avram Dov met again in the Holy Land, in Tzfat, this man who came to him years earlier to his house. And he said, you told me that the earth was jewels. I don't see it as being jewels now. What is this? So the man said, excuse me, the earth is jewels. That you don't see it is your problem. That's your problem, not the land's problem. And Avram Dov took that to heart, and he confided himself, closed himself up in a room, secluded himself for a long time, and he davened and cried and prayed that Hashem open his eyes to see the beauty of the Holy Land. And after that davening for so long, he came out and literally he saw the street shining, not because of his tears and he saw stars because of the tears, but because really he davened so much that he began to see the holiness of Eretz Yisrael. A person who merits here can see a different Holy Land. So again, just because you're living in the Holy Land doesn't mean you've reached all the levels of holiness. You still have a long way to go to master and to accomplish, to connect to all the 10 levels of holiness. And this explains how you can have people who are living here, but they're not living according to the Torah. They still have, for sure it's a big advantage to be living here physically, but still, There's work to be done to attain the holiness of the Holy Land, which you have to also work for once you're here, B'ezrat Hashem.